what seemingly was like an innocent interview on a very much Oh, Kemi, what have you started? What seemed like a very much innocent interview on the very little watched now BBC Breakfast Show. Well, seemingly behind the scenes, things are still not on track. Who's to blame though? As ever, let me explain. Morning, good to see you, chums. Thank you so much for your time today. How are you? I'm not so bad, thank you. Here on this lovely road on an out-looking autumnal, dare I say, day here in London town. Dark clouds are still gathering though up in Salford. That's where the BBC Breakfast Show comes from. They had to move it there at great expense because apparently they needed to make more programmes out in the regions. Now I don't know about you, I've always been baffled by this with the BBC because it's inside a studio. The studio could be anywhere and they now spend thousands more reverting back to interview people in Westminster that they can't get up to Salford in Manchester. You see, not cost effective, is it? It's not really cost effective when you look at these very expensive presenters. You know the ones I'm talking about, Naga Munchetty and of course Charlie Stayt, who made a real Horlicks of it all while interviewing the opposition leader and of course the leader of the Conservative Party, the Right Honourable Kemi Badenoch. Now if you recall, Kemi was on there to talk about, well, all manner of things, and there's certainly a lot of important topics that they simply could have covered. But Charlie and Naga seem fixated on one topic only: Adolescence, the streaming fictional show put out by a rival company, Netflix. Now, as I told you, the reason why the BBC want to cozy up to Netflix is to try and get better deals so they can have second showings on some of their programmes, right? So consequently, what better way than to batter, some people might suggest, the leader of the opposition? But what it really unfolded was the fact that behind the scenes, Naga Munchetty, Charlie Stayt are no longer speaking to their editor, Richard. He is the man that puts the breakfast show together. As ever, we have to say allegedly, but it's now got worse than that, if it's possible. And I think this is far more exciting than anything they're putting out there on the screen. Because as we know, over on the BBC News, they're having to make some very severe cuts. And basically, when you look around, you have to decide who on earth is taking a lot of money. Now, there are always certain people that are never going to be chopped. One might suggest, of course, because they tick a relevant box. And we've seen that time and time again with the BBC, with various job applications where if you're white, you don't need to apply. You get the picture. But back to BBC Breakfast. Behind the scenes, it appears that Charlie and Naga are now become very frosty with each other because apparently some of these stories have leaked out to the media and they're very concerned about who the leak is. Forgetting, of course, is a big crew with a gallery and, more importantly, lots and lots of people within the BBC up at BBC Salford, Manchester. This is not playing out. People apparently are now just tuning in to see whether there's a frizz-on between Charlie and Naga. So where does Kemi fit into all this? Well, apparently, if Kemi had simply played along and said she couldn't wait to watch it, or more importantly, she hadn't watched it but she thinks she should and it's all relevant, well, all of this wouldn't have happened. But according to another source, they wouldn't mind inviting Kemi back on. Apparently she was brilliant for ratings, if not for the cordial relationship between the two BBC presenters. Whatever you see on screen, remember, it's through gritted teeth, and more importantly, one's being paid more than the other. But don't mention that to Charlie, will you? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.